You want power? Then understand this. Your mental attitude is the gatekeeper of your destiny. Everything you desire, success, respect, wealth, influence, it begins in the mind. Not in talent, not in luck. In the mindset you build, command, and enforce with discipline. The first step is brutal. Guard your mind ruthlessly. Most people are soft. They allow negativity to leak in through gossip, media, and small talk with small thinkers. You can't build a powerful life with a polluted mind. Shut it down. Eliminate the weak voices. Every thought you entertain must be in alignment with your mission. Anything else is betrayal to your purpose. Each morning is a battlefield, and most people lose before they open their eyes. You won't. Why? Because you will dominate each morning with discipline. Your body gets out of bed when your mind tells it to, not when it feels like it. You move with urgency. You speak your goals. You act without hesitation. Morning is when warriors are made and cowards are exposed. Do you want belief? Then repeat until your mind obeys. Your subconscious doesn't care what's true. It obeys what's repeated. If you say, I am unstoppable with conviction daily, your actions begin to align. But if you allow one whisper of, maybe I'm not good enough, then you've already started the collapse. Speak victory, live victory, and belief will follow like a shadow. You cannot rise surrounded by people who are content to stay where they are. If you're the sharpest one in the room, you're in the wrong room. Associate only with the focused and the driven. Surround yourself with those who challenge you to climb, not those who distract you with comfort. Your circle is your mirror. Make sure it reflects the life you're building. Pain is not punishment, it is training. When setbacks come, weak minds retreat. Strong minds turn every setback into a command to advance. The storm didn't come to destroy you, it came to reveal what you're made of. Stop running from resistance. Embrace it. Let it forge your endurance, your clarity, your dominance. Growth doesn't live in safety. It lives in the fire. Your thoughts are not suggestions. They are blueprints. Act as if you cannot fail and watch the universe bend to your command. This is not fantasy. It's focus. The mind that moves with certainty becomes a magnet for results. Indecision kills. Confidence creates. Move like the outcome is already yours, and soon it will be. Finally, refuse to entertain weakness in thought. This is not a game. The moment you allow doubt, you give it power. Cut it off. The second it enters, act, move, speak, lift, build. Your weapon is momentum. Your enemy is hesitation. Mental weakness is a choice, and so is strength. Choose strength every single time. Your attitude is not something you're born with. It's something you train daily like a soldier trains for war. It is sharpened by repetition, enforced by discipline, and ignited by purpose. You're not waiting for motivation, you are motivation. You don't react to the world, you shape it. And that shaping begins with the power of a relentless, focused, positive mental attitude. Guard your mind ruthlessly. The world is coming for your attention. Every second, something tries to steal your focus, pollute your thinking, and weaken your resolve. You must become a gatekeeper of your thoughts with military precision. This is not optional. It is survival. Most people are wide open, letting in doubt, gossip, fear, failure, and noise. Their minds are dumping grounds for other people's opinions. And then they wonder why they feel lost, why they hesitate, why they can't seem to break through. It's because they've allowed their mental territory to be overrun by trash. That ends now. You are not a victim of thoughts. You are the master of them. You decide what gets in. You decide what gets rejected. Your mind is your fortress, and only power is permitted inside. It starts with cutting off the noise. That means tuning out the news that's designed to agitate. It means walking away from conversations that drain you. It means eliminating the people who speak in fear, who live in excuses, who joke about quitting like it's a punchline. You're not laughing, you're building. You have no space for that. Your standard has to be higher now. If it doesn't feed your growth, it's a distraction. If it doesn't challenge you to think stronger, it's a liability. If it doesn't align with your vision, it's a threat. You don't negotiate with threats, you eliminate them. Everything you think creates something. Every idea you entertain becomes a seed. Negative seeds grow into weeds of doubt and inaction. Positive seeds grow into discipline, courage, and victory. So ask yourself, what kind of mental garden are you growing? Most people don't even ask. They just react. They get pulled in every direction by their emotions, their environment, their memories, their past. You can't afford that. You're not here to react. You're here to lead. You're here to create. And creation requires control. It requires intentional thought, ruthless selection of what you allow your mind to absorb. People talk about success like it's magic, like it's based on luck, like it's something you stumble into. That's a lie. Success is calculated. It's built one thought at a time, because every thought becomes a decision, every decision becomes an action, and every action repeated becomes your life. So don't let lazy thoughts linger. Don't let fear thoughts echo. Crush them the second they show up. Replace them with power. Replace them with certainty. Speak life into your mind. Speak discipline. Speak purpose. You are training your mind like a warrior trains with weapons. And a warrior never allows rust on his blade. You don't become mentally strong by accident. It is forged. And that forge is fire. Resistance, pain, rejection, failure, they're not enemies. They are weights in the mental gym. And just like your muscles grow from lifting heavy, your mind grows from lifting pressure. But only if you decide to rise under it. Only if you tell yourself, this will not break me. This will build me. That is a decision you make in the mind, long before the challenge ever shows up. That decision becomes armor. That armor becomes your standard. And with it, nothing penetrates. Look around. How many people do you see protecting their bodies while neglecting their minds? They'll spend hours in the gym, counting calories, dressing sharp, yet let self-doubt and weakness run rampant in their thoughts. That is not strength. That is illusion. Real power starts internally. The strongest body is nothing without the mindset to back it. And the greatest mindset is the one that's protected, cultivated, and driven by intention. The mind must be trained harder than the body, because the body follows the mind. If the mind quits, the body obeys. But if the mind is unbreakable, the body will move through fire to follow it. This is why you must inspect your thoughts like a soldier checks his gear. Daily, no excuses. Ask yourself, what am I thinking? Is this thought useful? Does it serve the mission? If not, kill it, replace it, strengthen it. Mental laziness is the enemy. Allowing your mind to drift is how doubt sneaks in. The moment your focus weakens, weakness takes root. But the moment your focus sharpens, clarity strikes like lightning. And clarity is power. With clarity, your decisions become sharp. Your actions become precise. Your results become inevitable. Do not underestimate the compound effect of strong thoughts. One powerful mindset repeated daily creates a lifestyle. That lifestyle creates legacy. And that legacy begins the moment you refuse to tolerate weak thinking. Don't wait for motivation to show up. Command it. Build it through repetition, through routine, through relentless elimination of every mental virus that seeks to slow you down. Stay aware. Stay alert. Don't let your mind wander into mediocrity. Lock in. Stay focused. Be intentional. Because when your mind is locked in on greatness, your life follows. Every single time. Dominate each morning with discipline. Before the sun rises, your war has already begun. You don't wait for the day to dictate your pace. You strike first. Weak people roll out of bed looking for comfort. Focused people rise with mission in their veins. The first hour of your day is your command post. It is where your tone is set. Your energy is built. Your priorities are drawn like battle lines. How you handle the morning tells the world exactly who you are. You don't hit snooze when your goals are loud. You don't move slow when your future is calling. You don't waste time scrolling when you should be building. The day is not a playground, it's a battlefield, and only the disciplined win. You don't have time for softness in the morning. The alarm clock is not your friend. It is your test. Every time it goes off, the question is simple. Will you rise like a champion or delay like the defeated? Every hesitation is a crack in your armor. You train your willpower by rising before excuses wake up. The world is asleep. That's your edge. That's when the winners are crafting vision, speaking power, planning execution. That's when the foundation is laid. You cannot build an empire on a casual morning. You need intensity. You need repetition. You need structure that doesn't care how you feel. Feelings don't build futures. Discipline does. The morning is not just a time to get up. It is a ritual to dominate yourself before the world tries to distract you. You train your mind to obey command. You do the hard thing first. You sweat, you journal, you speak goals, you study, you reflect, you plan. This isn't about motivation, it's about identity. Who are you when nobody's watching? That's what the morning reveals. Most people hide in blankets and excuses. You show up. You do what must be done. You don't ask how you feel. You tell yourself what needs to happen, and you make it happen without question. Discipline is not natural. It is trained. You become a machine of execution by making the morning non-negotiable. You don't wait for perfect sleep, perfect conditions, perfect mood. You rise in spite of all that. You don't allow comfort to negotiate your standards. You wake up early because you said you would, because the mission demands it, because your life is too important to be run by impulse. You beat the sun out of bed because your vision is burning hotter than your desire to rest. Discipline in the morning becomes dominance during the day. When you win the morning, everything else bends to your will. You don't show up reactive, you show up ready. You walk into challenges already tested. You move with clarity because your priorities were locked in hours before others even opened their eyes. Your body has already been pushed. Your mind has already been sharpened. While others are catching up, you are creating separation. And in this world, separation is everything. Those who separate themselves early become untouchable later. You don't chase momentum. You build it, and it starts with owning the first hour. If you struggle in the morning, it's not because you're not capable. It's because you haven't decided that the mission matters more than the mattress. That decision changes everything. You no longer wake up hoping to feel ready. You wake up knowing it's time to act. Every morning becomes a declaration. You're saying, I will lead myself before I try to lead anything else. That's power. That's discipline. That's how champions operate. They don't need applause. They don't need reminders. They've trained their mind to move on command. You become that person when you stop negotiating with your lower self. The moment you choose to dominate the morning, your life starts to align. Your results compound. Your confidence grows. You don't stumble into progress. You carve it. One disciplined morning at a time. You start seeing results others don't because you're doing what others won't. It's not about waking up early for the sake of it. It's about what you do with those hours. You put your mind through fire so nothing in the day can shake you. You remind yourself why you started, who you're becoming, what you're chasing. You turn intentions into action before breakfast, and the world begins to move in response. Most people waste their morning trying to catch up on energy. You generate it. You don't need permission. You don't need inspiration. You create both through movement, through purpose, through repetition. Discipline becomes your default. Excellence becomes your baseline. While the average are still debating what to do, you've already put in the work. You're not in the game to participate. You're here to take over. And that takeover begins in silence while the world is still dark, when nobody is watching. That's when you build the kind of focus that can't be shaken. Discipline is freedom. You're not a slave to your mood anymore. You're not controlled by circumstances. You are rooted in principle, and that principle says you show up no matter what. The morning becomes sacred not because of magic, but because of mastery. You don't stumble through life anymore. You command it. You rise with purpose. You act with precision. You move like a person who refuses to be average. And every single morning is another step toward your own legend. Repetition builds belief. Not once, not sometimes, not when it's convenient, but every single day until your mind has no choice but to obey. You do not believe because you hope. You believe because you've trained your mind to accept no other outcome. This is how champions are built. They don't stumble into belief. They create it with fire, with force, and with focus. They repeat the vision until it becomes reality. Most people speak their fears more than their goals. They rehearse doubt like a script and then wonder why they never rise. You will not live like that. You will speak power until power becomes your language. You will speak victory until victory becomes normal. You will speak strength until weakness has no place left to live. There is no secret to building belief. It's about what you say when no one is watching. It's about how often you reinforce the truth you want to live in. Repetition is not magic. It's programming. Just like your body is shaped by reps in the gym, your mind is shaped by reps of thought. You train it over and over without apology. You do not wait for belief to show up. You create it through consistent repetition. You say it, you see it, you act on it, again and again and again, until your mind bends to your will, until your subconscious starts working for you, not against you, until every fiber of your being moves in alignment with the vision you declared out loud. You cannot expect a powerful life with a weak voice in your head, and the only way to change that voice is to replace it, not once, but relentlessly. You do not allow doubt to speak freely. You drown it out with truth. You overpower it with conviction. You recite your mission like a soldier drills commands, firm, exact, without hesitation. You train your internal language with such consistency that it becomes automatic. And once it's automatic, it becomes reality. You don't get what you want, you get what you believe. And belief is built with repetition, like bricks are laid to build a fortress. The world will try to convince you that you're dreaming too big, that your goals are unrealistic, that you're not ready. And that's exactly why repetition matters. Because if you don't repeat your truth, the world will repeat its lies. You either echo your power or you absorb their limitations. There is no middle ground. You're not saying affirmations to sound good. You're saying them to survive. You're saying them to dominate, to remember who you are, where you're going, and why you won't stop. Repetition doesn't just remind you, it reprograms you. And reprogramming is the only way to override the fear that's been embedded by years of distraction and failure. Do not underestimate what happens when you repeat strength daily. Slowly, the voice of weakness dies. The urge to quit fades. The excuses lose their grip. You start to move differently. You start to carry yourself like someone who cannot be defeated, not because you're faking it, but because you've rehearsed it so many times it's become real. This is what repetition does. It removes the gap between the future and the present. It brings the version of you that already succeeded into the room. And once that version shows up, everything changes. Belief is not an accident. It is forged through discipline. You don't miss days. You don't skip your mental reps. You don't say it once and hope it sticks. You drill it until it becomes part of your DNA. You carve your thoughts until your spirit rises. That is how confidence is built. That is how fear is shattered. You didn't come here to live average. You came here to take over. And the only way you take over is by commanding your own mind first. If you cannot lead your own thoughts, you will be led by every distraction around you. So you lock in. You write your goals. You say them out loud. You declare your power. You visualize your outcomes. You engrave it into your system every single day. You become what you repeat. If you want to be powerful, repeat power. If you want to lead, repeat leadership. If you want to conquer, repeat that reality so many times your brain thinks it already happened. That's when your actions align. That's when your decisions sharpen. That's when hesitation disappears. Belief doesn't come first. Repetition comes first. And belief follows like a soldier. You are not lying to yourself. You are awakening your potential. You are building a mind that does not question your greatness. It expects it. Don't wait for proof before you believe. Your repetition is the proof. Your consistency is the evidence. Your discipline is the truth. Speak it until it echoes. Walk it until it shows up. Declare it until the world has no choice but to respond. Because when your belief is built by relentless repetition, nothing can shake you. And that is when you become unstoppable. Associate only with the focused and the driven. You don't have time for the distracted, the lazy, the complainers, or the ones who talk big and act small. Your vision is too valuable to surround it with people who have no fire. Every conversation is a seed. Every relationship is either fuel or poison, and most people are poisoned daily by proximity to mediocrity. If the people around you don't challenge your standards, you will lower them. If they joke about quitting, you will slowly laugh with them. If they doubt the process, you will begin to question your own. That is why you must protect your circle with the same intensity you protect your goals. You don't need more friends, you need more alignment. The world is full of spectators. They watch others build, grind, climb, and they sit, scroll, and criticize. You were not born to entertain that energy. You were born to rise. And rising requires distance from the comfortable. It requires space from the familiar voices that pull you back to average. When your circle has no discipline, you will feel out of place trying to elevate. When your circle avoids accountability, you'll be tempted to lower your effort. But when your circle is sharp, focused, and relentless, your ambition multiplies. Energy is transferred. And if you're not gaining fire from your people, you're losing it. Stop explaining your drive to the unmotivated. Stop shrinking your goals to make weak minds comfortable. You were not designed to fit into their limitations. If they can't handle your pace, let them fall behind. Because the cost of association is too high when it compromises your direction. People will say they support you, then laugh when you fail. They'll claim they believe in you, then disappear when it gets hard. Watch what they do, not what they say. Loyalty is proven by presence in the storm, not applause in the sunshine. You don't need cheerleaders, you need warriors. You need people who push you when you're slipping, not those who pull you down to rest beside them. You are building something greater, and greatness is not built in a crowd. It's built in clarity. It's built in focused environments with people who are as hungry as you. If you don't know anyone like that, become that person first. Lead yourself with such intensity that it forces others to rise or walk away. Your standard becomes a filter, and that filter will begin to remove everything and everyone who cannot keep up. Let it. You don't have time to save the uncommitted. You're not here to beg others to grow. You're here to conquer your calling. And that requires unity with the like-minded, not sympathy for the stagnant. Look at the 5 people you speak to most. Are they elevating you or exhausting you? Are they pulling you closer to your goals or numbing your potential with distractions? You are not being harsh by cutting people off. You are being responsible. Because the dreams you carry are delicate. They don't survive in toxic air. They don't grow in lazy soil. You need an atmosphere of excellence. One where progress is praised, effort is expected, and excuses are rejected. One where winners don't brag, they build, where discipline is not rare, it's required. That is the environment where greatness thrives. Anything less will kill your momentum slowly, then all at once. People will call you arrogant for choosing your circle with intention. Let them. That's just the voice of the comfortable trying to make you comfortable again. You don't owe access to everyone. You don't owe energy to those who waste it. Your time is limited. Your focus is sacred. Give it only to those who honor it. Every relationship should either sharpen you or stretch you. If they don't do either, they're in the way. And when someone is in the way of your future, removing them is not cruelty. It's clarity. It's leadership. It's survival. Winners move together. They speak a different language. When you say, "I'm tired, but I'll get it done," they nod, not question. When you say, "I'm up at 4 a.m. to train," they say, "Me too, not you're crazy." That is who you need. People who normalize pressure, normalize growth, normalize ambition so intense it scares others. When that becomes your atmosphere, your old limits dissolve. Your vision expands. You realize you were never crazy, just surrounded by the wrong minds. That shift in association creates a shift in results. Not someday, immediately. Protect your circle like you protect your mindset. It is just as powerful. It will determine how far you go, how fast you grow, and how strong you stay under pressure. Don't take advice from those who haven't done the work. Don't seek validation from those who fear commitment. Don't entertain opinions from people whose lives don't reflect your values. You are rising, and to keep rising, you must keep your circle razor sharp, ruthless with time, relentless with vision, unshakable under fire. That's who you move with now. That's the standard. That's the cost. That's how you separate from the average and walk among the unstoppable. Turn every setback into a command to advance. Life will hit you, hard, unexpectedly, and without apology. But the ones who rise, the ones who dominate, are not the ones who avoid the storm. They're the ones who become stronger inside it. Setbacks are not signals to stop. They are orders to evolve. When you face resistance, you don't pause, you don't retreat, and you don't cry for mercy. You get sharper. You get louder. You get more dangerous. Weak minds collapse under pressure. Strong minds convert it into fuel. Every failure is a forge. Every rejection is a redirection. Every pain is an instruction screaming, get better, move faster, hit harder. You don't fold, you reload. Setbacks are not the enemy, comfort is. Because comfort convinces you that success should be smooth, that greatness should be gifted, that if it hurts, it's not meant for you. That's a lie. Nothing worth having comes without resistance. The moment you understand that setbacks are part of the path, not proof you're off it, you flip the entire game. Now, adversity is your advantage. Most people waste setbacks by turning them into excuses. They feel pain and start retreating. You feel pain and start refining. You study what failed. You correct it. You rise with more precision. That's how killers are made. Setbacks don't break winners. They expose weakness so you can destroy it. The goal is not to avoid falling. The goal is to rise so fast that the fall becomes fuel. You don't get bitter, you get better. You don't blame, you build. You don't cry about what happened. You command what happens next. When the world says stop, your mindset says continue. When people doubt you, your actions become louder. You're not here to impress the doubters. You're here to silence them with results. The setback becomes your training. It sharpens your focus. It teaches you what works and what doesn't. If you're paying attention, every failure hands you the exact blueprint to win. The average mind quits when plans fall apart. The powerful mind adapts. There is no such thing as permanent defeat unless you accept it. You might have been delayed, but you are not done. You might be tired, but you are not finished. You might be pushed back, but your next move is forward. That's non-negotiable. Because you are not driven by comfort, you are driven by calling. And calling doesn't vanish because things got difficult. In fact, difficulty confirms that you're on the right path. If it didn't matter, you wouldn't be getting tested. Setbacks are not obstacles. They are evidence that the mission is real. Do not let emotions lead you when failure hits. Let discipline lead. Let hunger lead. Let the vision lead. When things go wrong, don't flinch. Lock in. When the plan falls apart, don't freeze. Adapt and strike. If you let pain paralyze you, you'll never see progress. But if you let it activate you, you'll become unstoppable. Your strength is not shown when things are smooth. It's shown when everything collapses and you still move. When you still grind. When you still rise before the sun with fire in your chest. Setbacks don't get to choose your outcome. Your response does. Don't wish for easy. Easy never built anyone worth remembering. Welcome the fire. Let it burn off weakness. Let it strip the excuses. Let it expose the truth. The fire is the best teacher because it doesn't lie. It shows you exactly where you're soft, exactly where you've been slacking. And once you see it, you fix it. That's what the elite do. They take the hit, then hit back harder. They use the loss as leverage. They use the pain as power. And every time life swings, they swing back with more precision, more control, more dominance. You will not be broken. You will be rebuilt stronger. Setbacks are not interruptions. They are the process. Anyone can move when things are perfect. But your legacy is built in the moments when it's not. In the grind after defeat. In the days when no one believes. In the hours when you doubt yourself, but you show up anyway. That's where power is born. That's when your next level is unlocked. The pain you feel today is the price for the future you asked for. If you run from it, you forfeit everything. But if you face it, if you study it, if you refuse to stop, you will earn everything, step by step, rep by rep, blow by blow. Setbacks are not there to embarrass you. They're there to educate you. They are the correction required to become unshakable. And once you've learned how to convert pain into progress, no setback can stop you again. It may knock you down, but you won't stay down. Because now every fall is a command to rise stronger. Every delay is a challenge to stay locked in. And every closed door becomes a signal to build your own. That's the mindset. That's how you win. That's how the unstoppable are made. Not in the moments of applause, but in the silence after failure, where only the disciplined rise again. Act as if you cannot fail, not someday, not when it's safe. Now, move with the mindset that victory is inevitable. Speak like it's already done. Walk like the door is already open. Think like your success is on schedule and cannot be stopped. This is not arrogance, it is power. It is control. It is ownership of the future before it shows up. When you act as if you cannot fail, you erase hesitation. You remove the virus of doubt. You shut down every internal excuse before it even forms. Most people wait for permission to believe. You are not most people. You don't ask the world if you're ready. You decide you are and you move with force. You don't beg for belief. You command it with your actions. Every step you take becomes a declaration. You are not here to try. You are here to conquer. You are here to lead. You are here to create reality through relentless action. The world responds to boldness. It bows to those who move with certainty. If you walk like you're unsure, life will keep you guessing. If you move like a champion, life will eventually match your energy. The secret is to act from belief even before you have proof. Not fake confidence, but real internal power that comes from deciding to trust the process and dominate regardless of circumstances. Most people are stuck in hesitation because they're waiting for clarity. You create clarity by moving. The moment you take the first step, the fog starts to lift. Waiting does nothing but weaken you. Thinking endlessly does nothing but slow you. When you act as if failure isn't an option, you don't waste time planning for defeat. You don't water down your dream to fit other people's doubts. You go all in. That mindset pulls solutions out of you that you never knew existed. That pressure sharpens your mind. That pace increases your hunger. It's not about pretending, it's about aligning. Aligning your behavior with the outcome you refuse to live without. Every hesitation you entertain feeds fear. Every bold move you take destroys it. When you show up like a winner, your brain adapts. It starts to believe you're capable because your actions leave no room for anything less. That's how belief is built. You're not waiting to feel like a leader. You are becoming one through action. You're not hoping to feel worthy. You are proving it by pushing past every wall that stands in your way. That's how warriors think. They don't ask, what if I fail? They ask, what if I never try? Because that's the real danger. That's the real loss. Regret hits harder than any setback ever will. You must act with total conviction, even when the room is silent, even when no one claps, even when the world says it's impossible. Confidence is not the absence of fear, it's the refusal to obey it. When you act as if you cannot fail, you train your nervous system to stay calm under pressure. You program your mind to chase excellence without apology. And over time, the world begins to see you differently. Not because you waited to be noticed, but because you moved like someone who couldn't be ignored. That's how momentum begins. That's how opportunities multiply. That's how the impossible gets done. Stop negotiating with fear. Stop shrinking your moves to fit into average rooms. Stop second-guessing what you were born to build. You're not here to wonder, you're here to walk with certainty. You're here to speak the outcome before it shows up. That energy moves mountains. That mindset crushes barriers. When you act like failure is off the table, your brain starts looking for ways to win instead of reasons to quit. You start taking risks that ordinary minds fear. You start leading where others hesitate. And slowly the results catch up to your belief. Not because the path got easier, but because you stopped waiting and started deciding. There is no power in doubt. No transformation in hesitation. You cannot build a legacy with one foot in and one foot out. Decide, commit, move. And if it breaks, you rebuild stronger. If you fall, you rise sharper. But you do not freeze. You do not flinch. You do not wait for perfection. When you act like you cannot fail, you stop measuring every step and start owning the ground you walk on. That's how empires are built. Not with flawless plans, but with fearless movement. No great life was built on playing it safe. No championship was earned by waiting until the stars aligned. It happened because someone moved like they were chosen long before anyone else agreed. You want to change your life? Then change the way you show up to it. Don't show up timid. Don't show up seeking validation. Show up with dominance. Show up like you belong. Show up like success already knows your name and is just catching up. When you carry that kind of mindset, people feel it. Rooms shift, doors open. Energy follows your lead. Not because you're lucky, but because you're relentless. Because you made a decision and refused to let go. When you move like you cannot fail, your mind unlocks levels of creativity, endurance, and intensity that stay buried in the average. And once that power is awake, nothing can stop it but your own hesitation. Refuse to entertain weakness in thought. The battle is always won or lost in the mind before a single move is made. Every time you let a weak thought take root, you're giving permission for doubt to grow, for fear to multiply, for hesitation to steal what discipline was building. You must become the guardian of your inner world. No more compromise, no more entertaining stories that shrink your identity or slow your mission. The mind is either your weapon or your prison, and that choice is made in every single thought you allow to stay. You don't get to think like a victim and win like a leader. The two can't coexist. There is no future in soft thinking. There is no power in rehearsing failure. Every time you speak limitation over your life, you reinforce chains you were born to break. The mind obeys the patterns you give it. If you constantly feed it with what-ifs, doubts, and excuses, it will hand you a life built entirely from hesitation. You weren't designed to analyze your way into paralysis. You were designed to decide, to act, to overcome. When weakness enters the mind, it must be destroyed instantly. Not studied, not entertained, not excused, crushed. You don't reason with fear. You replace it. You override it. You bury it under a new, dominant thought rooted in power. Your thoughts are commands. They're not just ideas floating around. They are the architects of your future. If you tolerate even one weak sentence in your head, it starts rewriting your standard. It starts pulling you back toward comfort. You'll hear yourself say, maybe I'm not ready, and suddenly your pace slows. You'll think, what if I fail? And without realizing it, you pull back your effort. That's how weakness wins. Not in giant steps, but in tiny, unchallenged concessions. Every day you must decide who runs your mind, your mission or your fear. You can't serve both. One leads you to dominance. The other leaves you defending a life you never wanted. You're not here to think like everyone else. You're here to think at a level most people can't even maintain for 5 minutes. You must feed your mind with only what builds, sharpens, and stretches you. Cut out the noise. Destroy the mental habits that keep you average. If it doesn't move you forward, it doesn't belong. If it doesn't align with your vision, it's a threat. And threats are not entertained. They're eliminated. Most people treat their mind like a suggestion box, letting anything drop in and take up space. You treat it like a war room, guarded, focused, impenetrable. That's how you win. That's how you rise. Weak thinking always shows itself in language. It hides in maybe, someday, I'll try if I can. Remove those words. Replace them with certainty, with direction, with power. Speak with conviction, not caution. Declare your outcome, then move like it's already done. That's the standard. That's the mindset. Anything less is sabotage. When the mind is uncertain, the body won't commit. When the mind is weak, your actions lose edge. But when your thinking is pure, powerful, and intentional, your entire being responds with precision. This is mental warfare. And the first thing you must destroy is the habit of tolerating anything that doesn't align with greatness. Stop giving space to past failures. Stop rehearsing old pain. Stop letting old wounds set the tone for new battles. You are not what happened. You are what you decide to become. And that decision begins in thought. The moment a weak idea tries to rise, confront it like a threat. Replace it with a command. I don't know if I can becomes I will figure it out. I'm not ready becomes I'm being built for this. You don't lie to yourself. You lead yourself. That's what strength in thought looks like. Not delusion, direction. Not fantasy, focus. The elite think differently. They don't waste mental energy on scenarios that don't serve them. They don't play out worst-case outcomes in their head for sport. They visualize what they want, speak what they want, move toward what they want, and they refuse to stop. That's what it takes. Relentless, disciplined, militant control over your internal world. You don't have time to doubt. You don't have time to whine. You don't have space for weakness. Not when your future is being shaped by the thoughts you tolerate today. Train your mind like your life depends on it, because it does. Every victory begins in thought. Every collapse does too. Which one you experience is determined by what you allow to stay. So audit your thoughts. Clean house. Burn down everything that doesn't build. And if you find yourself thinking like someone who loses, stop everything and rewire immediately. This isn't a casual habit, it's your lifeline. Weak thinking will rob you of opportunities, of time, of purpose, of greatness. Kill it before it kills your potential. Think like a winner, speak like a champion. Move like the unstoppable force you were born to be. Every principle spoken here is not theory, it's a demand. A challenge to rise above the noise, above the excuses, above the weakness that's kept you average for too long. This isn't about motivation that fades tomorrow. This is about war. War with every old pattern that tells you to play small. War with the internal voice that says maybe later. You guard your mind because it builds your reality. You dominate your mornings because your day bows to how you begin it. You repeat greatness because repetition forms identity. You cut off the unfocused because mediocrity is contagious. You convert setbacks into fuel because pain sharpens the elite. You move like failure isn't an option because hesitation is death. You refuse weak thoughts because strong lives are forged in strong minds. This is how power is built. Not by talking about it, but by living it daily with ruthless consistency. No more waiting, no more soft starts, no more room for doubt. From this moment on, every breath, every step, every thought, every decision must reflect where you're going, not where you've been. This is your shift point. Lock in. Show up like it's already done, because it is. If you will act with full conviction, move without apology, and guard your mind with militant discipline, then you will not just think power. You will become it.